You see, Ready Player One, for those who haven't watched, is a movie that takes place in around 2045, where an inventor creates a program slash world called Oasis. Oasis enables the user to join a expansive virtual reality world where anything can happen and all the possibilities are limitless. And as the movie says, it's a world where reality, the limits to reality, are your own imagination. You see, you don't actually have to watch the whole movie in order to get what I'm sharing with you guys today. Oasis, it's just a program, right? Then how do we actually enter this world, enter this game? How do we transmit ourselves from the real world to the virtual one? Well, initially, those in the movie used omnidirectional treadmills alongside with goggles and gloves. Omnidirectional treadmills, similar to normal treadmills, let you run, but in this case, let you run in all directions. They use this in order to be able to travel far and wide within the virtual world while still being in the same place in the real one. Goggles and gloves help the players experience full sense perception of touching, hearing, and seeing of whatever is in the game while still being in the real world. Well, talk about running. Sounds like hassle, doesn't it? Having to actively run in the real world in order to create an action within the virtual one. Well, keep this in mind because I'll be coming back to this idea later. Well, moving on in the movie, it's revealed that one of the characters in the movie, Nolan Sereno, has a machine that could do whatever the omnidirectional treadmill could do while entering a sleep-like state. As I finished the movie, I asked myself, where have I seen this idea before? The idea of entering a sleep-like state, going to a virtual world, and breaking a game and finding an Easter egg. And it struck me right then and there. Sword Art Online. I see the smirks on your guys' faces back there. I know it's really, really immature to be referencing a Japanese animation within a TEDx. But hey, it has really insightful ideas. Sword Art Online, the machine in there, the nerf gear, similarly to the machine in Ready Player One, enables the users to enter a sleep-like state where the body is blocked from moving, and using their brain, they create action within a world virtually. You hear that? This is the same reaction I get whenever I tell this idea to someone, either older often or just someone who's new to the idea. They'd say something on the lines of, "It's too futuristic, buddy," or something like, "It's not practical. What are the social benefits of something that's solely for entertainment?" Well, I can go on and on and on and on about how this machine is very, very not too futuristic, but I guess it's something for you guys if you guys want to do and inspired to do. Searching up companies such as Haptics or Infinitec after I finish my speech. However, it is really interesting to be talking about how socially beneficial and how practical this machine could or this idea could be. Because after all, you have to ask the question of why should we before how could we? In the movies I am about to mention and have mentioned, the sole purpose for these machines, or at least as they portray it, is for entertainment, and in this case, gaming. However, in one of Ready Player One's trailer, it is revealed that players here could go to school, get married, or even get divorced on the Oasis. So easy, you don't have to actually see them in the real world, right? Not only that, Excel World, another Japanese animation about program and virtual reality, shows that the initial use for this machine, the nerf gear, the Neuralink, was for studying and working. If we truly want to dissect this idea into social benefits, I believe we can dissect it into three categories. First, exercising. Secondly, studying. And thirdly, working. Remember when I told you guys we'd come back to the idea of exercising and omnidirectional treadmills? Well, you see, throughout the history of the gaming industry, we've seen countless and countless of effort in trying to create something that's both fun and active. Something like Wii Sports, Guitar Hero, Dance Evolution, Just Dance, you name it. So though these games might be fun, but with the machine, the omnidirectional treadmill from Ready Player One, I believe this could be even more interactive. How more interactive? You might already know. You can finally immerse yourself in the first person point of view of whatever character you're portraying. Not only that, you're able to feel the full sense perception of touching, hearing, and seeing while still being in your very own room. Put this in perspective. You can go climb mountains with Batman. You can also bike with Jimmy Neutron and SpongeBob, go hiking with your dog, or even join the crusades with your friend right in your very own room. Not only does that sound fun to me, it sounds like a great way to spend my free time being healthy and active. Enough with actually exercising because I don't exercise at all. Well, let's talk about studying, which I do very often, I think. Well, studying, it's a region, it's an area where it's not really explored by people who watch these movies because obviously these movies base themselves on gaming and they don't talk about studying. However, because it's something underexplored, I believe it's very interesting to dive into it. Well, okay, imagine this. You're in the classroom. Your teacher's writing something on the board with a virtual marker, and you, as a student, you see something on the top right of your head, and you say, that's really hard to understand. Using your hand, you zoom into that concept. There pops up the definition, the example, and a visual representation if needed. Not this, this is just scraping the tip of the iceberg. What I just showed you was already implemented somewhat by Google. Google with their Google Glass is able to do that with their eyes. However, with the machines from these movies, you can make it even more interactive since you are using your hand and other body parts. Let's talk about the machine from Ready Player One and Sword Art Online. The machine that lets you enter a sleep-like state and travel virtually. Who can this help? I'd say this can help people who are doing homework at home that really need interactive actions, just such as chemistry. Imagine being able to do your chemistry lab in your home, recording all your data. It would be so much easier. Not only chemistry, but anything that's actually interactive, anything like guitar, all of that. It would be much easier since you're able to somewhat log into a website and then be able to do that whole lab. Not only does this help those who are interested outside of class, it also helps those who have the inability to go to class through being sick or being too far away from school. With these machines, your friend could see a hologram of you right here while attending class. You see, studying, it's easy, but what makes it easier is the ability to have a teacher with you and helping you understand and comprehend the material. So what do students at home miss? What do they lack? They lack the help of the teachers. So by having their holograms go to school year long, or students who are physically not able to go to school but mentally able, you can help the students be able to be smarter through having them comprehend the material through a teacher. Not only that, the last thing I want to mention is the fact about interest. Let's talk about online tutoring. What if you really like a subject, but then you struggle to find the appropriate material for the subject online? What if you find a way of teaching too hard to understand, or you just really don't get it? Well, a solution could be that you have online tutor. But what if you're an interactive person, right? You have hands-on, you can't do it. I'm telling you that we can transmit ourselves online into a virtual world where we're able to have a class of hundreds of students, tens of students, or just you and the teacher. From here on out, the teacher can teach you everything, hands-on, or if you like, writing on the board. With this, imagine walking along a 24-meter whale as you and the teacher talk about the biological structure of these whales. Well, talking about studying and about students, you got to talk about the teachers who do it, right? Let's talk about working. Well, for the area of working, it enjoys somewhat the same benefits as studying. With the area of working, I believe we can dissect it into three smaller categories: those selling, those buying, and those creating. For those who are selling, you can finally be able to give your product, explain it, how to fix it, or simply just show your product. It would be easier and the time constraint would be less. Imagine selling a house. Selling a house would be very hard if you and the client are far away from each other, or you just don't have the time to actually meet up with each other. So, what can you do if this was the case? You can plan a virtual meetup with you and the client where you're able to show the client what it looks like in the neighborhood. And as a client, you're able to see the width and the length of the house as well as other pricing mechanism that enables you to consider buying or not buying the house. As those architects who create the house, they're able to walk within their own creation, create their own creation while walking in them. Not only that, using systems and corroding the house through weather or time can help determine the stability of the house. Not only that, I believe this could make our everyday life and our everyday job more interesting. I think we've probably all seen Tony Stark holding on his hand the Iron Man suit as a hologram, or probably seen Black Panther walking around and holding that car on his hand. What if I told you we could do that and more? What if we could ride on that Ferrari we were holding? Or we could actually ride in that Batman or Iron Man suit that we probably created or pirated from somewhere on the internet? You know, it all the possibilities, making your everyday life, everyday job a little more interesting, a little more fun, less stress. I can go on, I can on and on and on about all these possibilities. And because after all, it's a limitless world. And maybe I haven't gone out enough for you. You maybe have questions in your mind. How can we create this? How is this not too futuristic? You're talking about transmitting yourself into a virtual world. Well, I tell you, I am only at the tip of the iceberg. For those who want to invest more, I really encourage to look up companies such as Haptics, Infinitec, or just MIT in general and how they use electrodes. Overall, I believe it's a really great topic to be covering, and all the limitless possibilities could one day be your creation. Because after all, we live in a world where the only limits to reality are your own imagination. Thank you.